States of America was founded, the right to bear arms has been exercised by many Americans with pride. Guns are often used for recreational purposes, including hunting and target practice. Guns are also a major part of American history, as they were used in every American war and are also used in several violent crimes within the country. Because of that fact, many people feel that guns are too dangerous for the individual citizen to own, and several politicians have proposed banning certain firearms and confiscating them through the police. Regardless of these people's reasoning, I feel that gun bans would do more harm to the American public than good. That is why the American people should oppose the government placing firearm restrictions on the public. Today I will discuss how gun bans do not allow people to protect themselves, do not keep guns out of the hands of dangerous criminals, and why the Constitution supports gun ownership for all. I feel that background checks are sufficient enough to keep guns out of the hands of criminals because the process of background check is meant specifically for that purpose. Deputy Gary Rule of the Richland County Sheriff's Department believes that the danger that a person poses for other people depends on their ability to use a firearm in a dangerous way. Background checks also allow people to exercise their Second Amendment right readily because it does not ban them from owning a firearm. Gary Rule also said that if somebody is clean, that somebody could use a firearm the day after they have purchased it. I also believe that a waiting period is fine because it also does not restrict the ownership of a gun. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, in 2016, more than half of convicted prisoners that used guns in the crimes for which they were convicted had illegally obtained those firearms. 43% of these guns were obtained on the black market or on the street. Not only would guns not keep guns out of the hands of criminals, it also makes it easier for these criminals to take advantage of innocent civilians. As I mentioned before, gun bans would prevent people from protecting themselves and others if necessary. While guns are used in violent crimes, they are also used in self-defense cases, often in the United States. Mark Smith, from the Foundation of Economic Education, explains how the Center for Disease Control estimated that 108,000 annual defensive uses based on the National Crime Victimization Survey, where guns were used in self-defense that many times in 2008. Without firearms, it is safe to assume that many of these people would have been seriously injured or killed even. Smith also included self-defense statistics from 2007 to 2011, and he stated that during the 5-year period, the Department of Justice confirmed a total of 338,700 defensive gun uses in both violent attacks and property crimes where a victim is involved. This averages to about 68,000 cases per year. He also stated that in 2016, 37,461 people died in motor vehicle accidents in the U.S. That means that guns saved more people than were killed in motor vehicle accidents in that 1-year period. While gun bans may not seem significant, they are in fact a violation of a constitutional right that is held by all American citizens. I will explain why the government does not have authority to ban guns on the American public. Sarah Peck from the Congressional Research Service discusses several Supreme Court cases that reviewed the Second Amendment in post-Heller Second Amendment jurisprudence. According to District of Columbia versus Heller, the Supreme Court upheld the individual person's right to own handguns. This is in line with the Second Amendment that states that every person should have access to firearms and have them readily available in their own home. Also, in Chicago versus McDonald, the Supreme Court ruled that the 14th Amendment protects people from laws that would restrict their constitutional rights, and this includes the Second Amendment and owning a firearm. There are, however, several cases where a person may have their Second Amendment rights suspended. These include felons, drug addicts, or people who are not yet 18 years of age. However, if someone is not any of these, or does not fall under any of these categories, it is unconstitutional for the government to place a restriction on any person to own a firearm, such as in New York, where assault weapon bans are common because an individual citizen cannot own an assault weapon in the state of New York, but it is in fact unconstitutional for them to have done that. I can understand why people feel that banning guns would keep the public safe, but there is evidence that proves that it would not be beneficial and would infringe on our constitutional rights. the ban of guns would only help criminals and would take away people's ability to defend themselves as well. That's why I urge the American people to tell their government representatives that these types of restrictions are unfair, unconstitutional, and should not be supported in any way.